Hello, I'm Joe, I'm the Cats Practice Manager, and in this 10-second tip, I'll be talking to you about talking about reading. Lots of kids' books have stories that are aimed at younger children, and that's great. And when you're reading to them, it is brilliant to share the story with them and explain parts of the story that could be of interest. However, oftentimes the writers or the artists who illustrate the books might add in little extra jokes or puns or things of referencing pop culture or history that would be completely over the head of the person who it's aimed at. But you as an adult reading it, or if it's a older sibling, they may get the joke, and sometimes you might have a good chuckle to yourself. It's worth mentioning sometimes that it's good to take a moment and explain it to the person you're reading it to. Specifically if it's a drawing and it's not immediately apparent why a certain character in the drawing is dressed a certain way. Oftentimes this may completely derail the story and you won't even get to finish it. But you might start and engage in a good conversation about what happened, why they're doing that, and the history behind it. Puns are used a lot in children's storytelling, and they can be quite fun and sometimes a bit painful if you're looking at them with the eyes of an adult. But remember, sometimes to a kid this may be the first time they've ever heard that, or could be even told that certain words can be mentioned in different ways and in different contexts, different meanings, especially even if they're spelled differently. This is a whole new world for them that you're helping explore and helping them bring through. And oftentimes we might ignore them if we're trying to get from one end of the story to the other as quickly as possible, especially if it's quite late bedtime. So the next time you're reading a story to your child and you come across an illustration or something in the corner of the drawing that may be quite funny to you but not them, draw their attention to it and explain why it's funny. Maybe explain the history in the background as well. It helps enrich the conversation. Even better, maybe just bring their attention to it and that it's different, and get them to ask you why it might be funny or what it might be about it. It'll also help them to explore and look at things with several different layers instead of just taking it at face value. It's a great way to enrich language and a great way to get this new joy out of the same story you might be reading every night for a whole month. I'm Joe, and this has been your Cat's 10-second tip. Goodbye.